WHGE 95.3 FM coming up. The Open Eye. Put your seatbelts on. It's gonna be a hell of a day today. That's right. Put something on your ass. Here we go. Starting. All right. All right. Those of us that indulge in or commit intellectual violence don't do so for the pleasure of mental masturbation or ego diddling. We do so because the chains of oppression on our people's minds are deep and difficult to remove. Good morning, my children of the sun. Welcome to the Open Eye on WHGE 95.3 FM. I'm your host, Third Eye Optometrist, Patrice Gibbs. And as we always start out, every generation has its purpose. Ours is to reveal the truth and reverse the brainwashing. Yes, D, put your seatbelts on, y'all. And it's going to be a bumpy ride today. Yeah, buddy, you can believe that. I'm going to start you off a little easy, as I usually do. Start you off with something to make you feel good. About someone who should make you feel good. Something yesterday, one of my co-workers asked, what do you consider a perfect song? Man, that's a long list right there. You know, I know a few songs that I consider just straight perfection. You know, for instance, Dizzy Gillespie's Night Tunisian. Charlie Parker's Lover Man. A song that should never be remade because nobody else could do it like that. And another song that came to mind was Earth, Wind, and Fire's Devotion. The vocals, the instrumental, oh my God, it was just beautiful. And who was responsible for that? A little traffic going by, a little loud. All right. Who was responsible for that? Now, I'm going to tell you. Singer, songwriter, producer, and drummer, Maurice White. Maurice White, born in December of 1941 in Memphis, Tennessee. After studying at the Chicago Conservatory of Music, he found work in 1963 as a sessions drummer for Chess Records. 4 years later, he began playing with the Ramsey Lewis Trio. In 1969, he formed his own band in Chicago, which was called the Salty Peppers. Hey, Steve. After moving to Los Angeles, White renamed his band as Earth, Wind, and Fire. The name was a nod to his astrological chart, which had no water signs. He also invited his younger brother, bassist Verdine, to join the group. When the first albums didn't break out, White shuffled the band's members. Newcomers included singer Philip Bailey, keyboardist Larry Dunn. Soon, guitarist Al McKay became a bandmate as well. Along with his revamped membership, only White and Verdine were holdovers from the group's first incarnation. Earth, Wind, and Fire's music changed. The band began mixing jazz, R&B, and funk, soul, and pop music. They also used African sounds such as White playing the kalimba an African thumb piano. With a new style and a new record label, Earth, Wind & Fire's album Hid to the Sky sold more than 500,000 copies. The group proceeded to put out a succession of gold and platinum albums throughout the 70s and early 80s. Many of the band's hit songs were ones that White helped compose, such as Shining Stars, September, Let's Groove. White won 6 Grammys with Earth, Wind & Fire and received an award of his own for arranging Got to Get You Into My Life, which was written by Paul McCartney, a Beatles remake that I think Earth, Wind & Fire did better than the Beatles. As a musician and vocalist, White also participated in the group's spectacular concerts, which featured exotic touches such as pyramids and disappearing acts. Though he spent time on outside projects such as an album for Denise Williams, White remained with Earth, Wind & Fire until the band took a 4-year break from 1983 to 1987. After reuniting, White toured with the group until 1995. Though he stopped touring, he continued to work with Earth, Wind & Fire as a producer and songwriter. He was also with the band for his 2000 induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In 2000, Maurice White revealed that he had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, thus explaining his decision to withdraw from performing. In 2010, White was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Maurice White, musical hero, pioneer, poet, philosopher, joined the ancestors on February 4th, 2016. Maurice White. Put out some perfect albums, yes indeed. Let me get my disclaimer out the way and we'll move on here. All right, WHGE 95.3 FM. The views and opinions expressed on Open Eye are those of the hosts, guests, and contributors, and do not reflect the policy or position of WHGE 95.3 FM, nor our sponsor, the Delaware Center for Homeless Vets. Any content provided by Open Eye's hosts, guests, or contributors are theirs and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, company, or individual. We ready? Hit. Come on. Change your phone. Yeah, we ready. Yeah. WHGE 95.3 FM. The Open Eye. Your host, Patrice Gibbs. First thing I want to do is thank some of my contributors and supporters and what have you, like Sister Tracy, Brother Jardea, Cousin Keo. Yeah, Cousin Keo. Of course, Bourne, my homegirl Sherry. All right. When people used to fail open book tests in high school, I used to be genuinely confused. I get it now. Yeah. Sister Kia. It's a quote from James Baldwin. What passes for identity in America is a series of myths about one's heroic ancestors. And we'll give you some more on that. It's astounding to me, for example, that so many people really appear to believe that the country was founded by a band of heroes who wanted to be free. That happens not to be true. What happened was that some people left Europe because they couldn't stay there any longer and had to go someplace else to make it. That's all. They were hungry, they were poor, they were convicts. Those who were making it in England, for example, did not get on the Mayflower. That's how the country was settled. Not by Gary Cooper. Some youngsters may not know who that is. Yet we have a whole race of people, a whole republic, who believe the myths to the point where even today, they select political representatives, as far as I can tell, by how closely they resemble Gary Cooper. That's so right now, this ugly sucker. Anyway, now, this is dangerously infantile. It shows in every level of national life. That was James Baldwin in a talk to teachers working in the New York public school system on October 16, 1963, discussing the American identity. 1963, and 61 years ago. I was 2 years old. And it's still relevant right now. What he said still makes sense right now. I'm going to show you too. That's word. I remember during the election and the campaigns and what have you, and something that came up during the debate was black jobs. What? Yeah. Yeah, black jobs. Had some fun with that. Michelle Obama said, Trump might be seeking one of those black jobs when he was running for president. Didn't work out that way, did it? Okay. Now, here's the thing. Of course, a lot of white supremacists are real happy right now. Okay? And they're going to act up. And we're going to get into that. Now, here's one of the things that the Orange Disaster wants to deal with. The Orange Disaster wants to offer restitution to white guys who had their little feelings hurt when they didn't get a job. One of those black jobs. When they didn't get a job. Yeah, I remember a guy telling me how bitter he was that his father didn't get one of them white jobs. I can tell you how Trump lays it out. Here's how that's all laid out in Agenda 47. And this is on the Orange Disaster's website. He first says he's going to reverse President Biden's executive order about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, that executive order stated that if there were obstacles that were in place for minorities, that those obstacles would be removed so that it would be an even playing field. That's all the executive order said, that those obstacles would be removed. But Trump and his white guy friends are talking about there's this whole DEI campaign where white men that were qualified for jobs were beat out by women and people of color and other minorities to make some sort of quota that didn't exist. So in Agenda 47, in Agenda 47, first thing he's going to do is fire everybody who was looking for those obstacles. And instead, he's going to hire people to find jobs that women and people of color and other minorities have and fire them. And he said fire all of them and put white guys in those jobs and offer restitution to the white guys. Okay? Okay, look. A black podcaster summed it up. It's a masterclass in white privilege. See, the Orange Disaster, he couldn't say enough racist things to be racist. He can't commit enough crimes to be a criminal. He can't fail enough times to be a failure. He can't say enough stupid things to be stupid. The ideal of him overshadows any reality. The quote-unquote Christian savior who doesn't know the Bible, the adulterer who screws porn stars and steals from charities. It's the promise of the protection of whiteness he represents. Brother Miss Bob. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. Okay. Brother Lawrence, how you doing? All right. Now, since the election, which wasn't even close, it wasn't even close, and from what I've heard, Kamala Harris was almost inconsolable. She couldn't believe it because all the polls were saying it was going to be a close race, and many of the pundits said, oh, she's going to win hands down. And she didn't. Yeah. The orange disaster won, and like I said, it wasn't even close. He pretty much trounced her. And of course, the reaction from the MAGA supporters, the Make America Great supporters, of course, was overwhelming joy. And now they got in their head that they can approach black people like they did in the days of Jim Crow. White people boldly walking down the street expecting you to step off the curb when they come by. This is their mindset. Oh, and they're going further. They have been sending out text messages to black people telling them they're going back in slavery. Here's one right here. You have been selected to be a house slave at Aberdeen Plantation. Come to this address at 5:30 tomorrow morning sharp with all of your belongings. This is mandatory. Our executive spaces will come get you in a turquoise van. Be prepared to be searched down once you enter the plantation grounds. You will be stationed at Plantation Point L. Sincerely, the Trump administration. Okay? Yeah. And I know to a lot of people this sounds ridiculous and what have you. Now, the FBI, whoa. All right. Something going on here with the mic. Get that straightened out. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay. All right. Trump's once again been elected president, and the energy in America as well is exactly what one would expect it to be. The white majority is celebrating while marginalized people are fearful. Don't be scared. Right on the heels of Trump's projected win, a rumor circulating on social media that white supremacist groups are planning to attack black Americans from now until the inauguration. According to the Ledger Inquirer, the information on the alleged threat began before Election Day with a single post by a woman who said she learned from a friend in Gwinnett County, Georgia, Sheriff's Office, that Ku Klux Klan members from Lexington, North Carolina, are plotting against blacks, especially black women, because in their eyes, black women are easy targets. However, on Saturday, the Sheriff's Office posted on Facebook that investigators learned of a circulating text thread suggesting potential attacks on African American women from now through the inauguration. Among the first things is to find ways to protect those whom Trump will be coming after. And these, Steve, that's ordering. Resist by all means. We have not received any information indicating threats to any groups on or after Election Day, as the Sheriff's Office said. Derwin Hargrave, a spokesperson for the city of Lexington, also told reporters, "We have not been able to confirm that it's an actual threat, but we're still remaining vigilant." And you should. And you should. Whether the threat is credible or not, police in North Carolina and Georgia are investigating the matter, as are local chapters at NAACP. But so far, all we're hearing from officials is that the threat likely isn't real. I'm going to disagree with that. Be careful out there. Okay. Yesterday, a friend of mine told me about his grandson's fear. His grandson came to him and told him, the Ku Klux Klan in North Carolina are going to attack black people. And I'm scared. And he said he could see the fear in his face. Because I think his aunt lives in North Carolina. Okay? And my friend told his grandson, don't worry. Because there's plenty of black men down there with guns. This ain't 1950. Okay? And ain't none of us going to be taking this lying down. Like we said before when the Orange disaster got in office. Don't get it mixed. He has security. You don't. You pull up with that crap if you want to. And get your ass whooped or worse. Okay, these recent threats to safety of black people and others may or may not be real. But the fear in the air certainly is. And it couldn't be a coincidence that the presidential candidate who ran a campaign almost entirely on fear-mongering won. Just saying. WHGE 95.3 FM, the open eye. Don't be scared. Yeah. Keep that. All right then. Take him to the mother, man. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You got right there. Yeah, that's that. Hold up, y'all. Hold up, y'all. Go ahead. Say it. Oh, I like that. Okay. Come in on that. WHGE 95.3 FM, the open eye. It's not 1950, but we still have to be vigilant. We still got to pay attention. You got to watch your back. All right? Because these people have every intention of doing us harm. Give you a story here. On October 4th, 2024, Tremaine White, black father and truck driver, went to a local tire shop in Liberty, Mississippi, where he got his tire changed, paid, and left a tip. And he then proceeded to go have lunch at a local diner. However, the tire shop owner called the police claiming Mr. White poured something white on the grass, which was later confirmed to be a white paper towel. Without cause questioning or explanation, police approached and finally arrested Tremaine at the Moose store, beating and tasering him after handcuffing and shackling him. They took him to the local jail, where people from the store contacted his mother. She went to the jail and saw her son beaten and tired. And he told her, "They're going to kill me, Mama." Despite her attempts to find out the charges, there were none. The police killed Mr. White in the local jail that night. Tremaine had no prior arrests or troubles and was a provider for his daughter. We demand the Department of Justice step in and arrest the cops who killed Mr. Tremaine White, and the individual who made the bogus call and everyone involved in the cover-up. You can't even find a news article about it. Liberty, Mississippi, we coming. And we will not stop until we get justice for Tremaine White. Okay? This was before the election. If you don't think these people are out to do us harm, you haven't been paying attention. Trump said one of the first things he's going to do is give immunity to the police. Not just qualified immunity, immunity across the board. Now, the FBI in this investigation has proven that white supremacists permeate police forces all over the country. That's why a policeman can commit a crime and get fired off of one police force and go over to the next county and get hired again. Because this is what they expect. Yeah, this is what they expect. They expect to get off with it. And they do. And I know, you know, how some of y'all feel, especially some black women, they really feel some kind of way about Vice President Harris not being elected. And I understand it. And of course, their reaction is black women will no longer be advocating for anyone else's causes. Do not call us to free Palestine. Do not call us to stand up against Asian hate. Do not call us for solidarity with indigenous people. Do not ask us to organize against mass deportations. We will be busy trying to protect our community from your decision to throw us, the people who have always had your backs, under the bus. Y'all never been there for us in return. You're on your own. Leave us alone. That was from a black woman that says she's speaking for a lot of black women. And why? Because they blame, and rightfully so, blame white women. You know, it was something a lot of white women were preaching about their solidarity with black women, and they're going to be voting for Kamala Harris, and now the election has happened. And let's look at some of the results. Like I said, it wasn't even close. Not even close. And of course, like I remember when Hillary lost, you had a lot of black women blaming black men. Okay? You had to remember that the Democrats, they made a big mistake. They made a big mistake. And that big mistake was chastising black men. As if black men were overly in favor of the Orange disaster, which was ridiculous. You know, they tried it out, the Obamas. Barack Obama got him waving his finger at black men and admonishing them for not strongly supporting, Kamala Harris and what happened. Michelle Obama got up and said, to vote for Trump is a vote against us. Even voting to count as a vote against black women. And you're not for Kamala, you're not supporting her because you're misogynist. Yet 80% of black men were in favor and voted for Kamala Harris. You're placing the blame on the wrong people. Every voting age registered black person could have voted for Harris, and Trump still wins. Because whites are 73% of their electorate. Black men are only 5%. Black women are 6%. Think about that. White women, white men, and Hispanic men put Trump in office. And you have zero control over that, and they got exactly what they wanted. Yeah. And I know a lot of those that were hoping that Kamala Harris was elected are now waving their finger at Hispanic people, and maybe rightly so. Because even after he called Puerto Rico, or he had one of his surrogates do it, that half-assed so-called comedian, got up and said that Puerto Rico was a floating isle of garbage in the Caribbean. After Trump himself called Mexicans drug dealers and rapists, had a lot of goddamn nerve from that rapist. And still 60% of Hispanic men voted for the Orange Disaster. And like I said earlier, white women, claimed that they were in solidarity with black women and they're gonna vote for Kamala. Let me tell you something. Y'all didn't learn nothing from Gloria Steinem. Y'all didn't learn nothing from the feminist movement. You didn't look at the history of women's suffrage. Okay? One of the things that angered, what's the chick's name? I forgot her name right now. I'm brain fart. But the leader of women's suffrage. She was thoroughly upset when, the amendment that gave black men the right to vote was passed after the Civil War. She is highly upset about that as a white woman. Gloria Steinem, a CIA operative, pushed feminism, got black women to join in on that crap. These are your enemy, man. Sister. They've shown you that time and again. Okay? And of course, like I always tell you, these are people voting against their own interests, white women. But their whiteness comes before their gender. Got to be more sophisticated in logic, more thorough in reading and studying everything. In 2024, white Nazis everywhere marching up and down the streets, toting guns. Over 30 million in white militia members around the country practicing weekly at shooting ranges and on large expanses of their land, preparing for a final solution. And black people are a central target. And 20% of these ignorant black men actually went down and voted for that Nazi. This brings us to the Nazi fascist movement in America that Trump leads, with a Republican Senate, House, and Supreme Court in his direct control now. Turner's diary in hand, talking final solution, and pointed at you. Armed with assault rifles, over 2 out of 3 leaders of those right-wing movements have military and police backgrounds. And are you listening to these opportunist black windbags? Okay, the Turner Diaries is a novel written in 1978 by William Luther Pierce, former leader of the white nationalist organization National Alliance. under the pseudonym Andrew McDonald. The Turner Diaries depict a violent revolution in the United States, which leads to overthrow the United States federal government, nuclear war, and ultimately to a race war, leading to the extermination of all groups deemed by the author as impure, such as mainlessly blacks. Labeled a Bible of the racist right by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Okay? Now, I would tell you that 2025 is their manifesto. Some things they've already let you know they're pushing. Okay? During his last term, he proudly overturned Roe versus Wade. White women, your chicken voting for Colonel Sanders, voting against your own interests. Same thing with Hispanic people. I heard a story just recently where this Hispanic man in mixed marriage with white women, okay, voted for Trump, thought he was part of the larger white supremacist family, thought he had been accepted. Send his kids out to play with the little white kids. We're all one. We're all one. The white kid's father came out with a gun and fired it up in the air and let him know to keep your little brown children away from my good white children. Not having it. But I voted for Trump. I don't give a damn. Not one of us. Okay? As I said, what is it? Turner Diary? Yeah, Stephen Beach let me know. Timothy McVeigh learned how to make a bomb from Turner's Diary. Be careful what you ask for, because oftentimes you get it. Like those two black MAGA people, damn fools, went to a MAGA rally with all them white MAGA Nazis and what have you, and got their ass whooped. They didn't give a damn if they had on their red hat or not. You are not one of them. And they're going to let you know that. Like I said, they've already overturned Roe versus Wade. Now with this Project 25 manifesto, okay, look out what else they've overturned. You know, Roberts, Supreme Court Justice Roberts, Chief Supreme Court Justice, an outright Nazi. Don't get it mixed. Even before he got on the Supreme Court, he did everything he could to gut the Voting Rights Act. Now they have control of all three branches of government. You don't think they're going after Brown versus Board of Education? Don't be silly. Like I said, chickens voting for Colonel Sanders. And the results have already started. And this is from an American woman today. Her husband works for a small manufacturing company in southwestern Pennsylvania. And that means most employees are Trump voters. Yeah. And when the president of the company sat them down to tell them their annual Christmas bonus would not come this year, because they now need to purchase at least 2 years worth of products prior to January 21st due to the proposed tariffs. They did not understand. This white woman said, her husband said that their president had to explain what a tariff is and how it will directly hurt their company. See, a lot of you don't understand what a tariff is. They put tariffs on goods coming into the country. They all thought the foreign company paid the tariff. See, this is the level of ignorance that you have when you're voting against your own good interests. No. The foreign country doesn't pay the tariff. You have to pay tariffs on the goods coming in and making them more expensive. Now, the silliness, the ideal is, yeah, we're going to put these tariffs on them, and American companies won't buy them. And this will hurt China. This will hurt whatever country these goods are coming from that they're putting these tariffs on. Dumbasses. Yeah, you vote against your own interests, and you fail American women and children. Yeah, that's what you get in Cracker Jacks, ain't it? WHGE 95.3 FM, the Open Eye. Let's take a moment. I'm closing the ribbon right here. WHGE 95.3 FM, the Open Eye. You know, as I said, there's plenty of blame to go around, this, that, and the other, so they think, so we think. We knew most white men were going to be for the orange disaster. Not surprising at all. And I think some black women, just from their reaction to the majority of white women voting for the orange disaster, showing their bitterness and what have you. And you have some white women that now want to know how they can show they still have solidarity. And they came up with an idea that they're going to wear blue bracelets and what have you. To show that they didn't vote for Trump. There ain't enough of you. Because the majority of you voted for Trump. And like I said, the Democrats made some big mistakes in this campaign. And I heard, and it's interesting that I heard some left-wing pundits state that Kamala Harris ran one of the most perfect campaigns they've ever seen. Had 3 months and what have you. And it's something, like I said, they made some big mistakes with trotting out people to chastise black people. Another big mistake was they didn't listen to Malcolm. Okay? And what do I mean by that? Because they tried to out entertainers. Nobody listened to Beyonce and Oprah. Now I had one of the pundits who I actually have a lot of respect for say that it wasn't to convince anyone, it was the vote for Kamala. It was to convince those people that follow them to participate. Okay? You didn't see the right wing bring out any singers and what have you, not of any note anyway. If they did, they just got up and said some racist stuff and sat back down, right, preaching to the choir. But the Democrats didn't pay attention to how grassroots black people feel. Because I know a lot of grassroots black people don't give a damn about Beyonce. are very much in opposition to what she represents. And damn, how many times have I told you how we feel about Oprah? Pretty much a disgusting person. And this, you're going to bring these up to convince anybody to participate? Let me tell you what I said 4 years ago. When Biden was the Democratic nominee. So I said 4 years ago. A lot of y'all ain't gonna like this. I don't give a damn. Our choices are dismal. Biden, a white supremacist, is directly responsible for mass incarceration, and proudly so. Harris declared war on black people in California and was gleeful about it. These are facts. Jim Crow Joe seemed to be on a mission to alienate black people throughout his campaign. Remember that crap he got up and said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Who the hell is he to declare himself the barometer of what blackness is? And choosing Kamala Harris, a notorious Negropean bed wench, was a final slap in the face. Black people who support this awful team admonish those of us who are critical of this sorry-ass ticket to forget the past. That's no different from white people telling black people to get over it. On the other hand, the orange disaster is the worst racist to sit in the White House since Woodrow Wilson. And that's saying a hell of a lot, considering Nixon, Bush, and the white supremacist demon Ronald Reagan made roast to hell, made the devil sodomizing with a pitchfork. The orange disaster is a narcissistic, misogynist, barely literate, mentally ill, evil bastard. The choices are dismal. This is the reality we are dealing with. The Democrats allowed this madness. Not those of us who are not afraid to face and state the truth. And it's not just white women that are at fault. And it's not just Democrats, but I also point to the mainstream press, who are directly responsible for the rise of Donald Trump. Okay? Because there was a time where someone on the public stage that would say the things that he said would have been shut down. Told you about that last week. Remember Trent Lott, son singing the praises of Strom Thurmond. Ended his career. But the mainstream press made Trump a viable candidate. Gave him a level of actual credibility. What the hell? Like I said, the Democrats, they did not pay attention to their grassroots, to their base. They still remain corporate sellouts. Okay? And yeah, Kamala Harris, of course, she was tied to the policies of Joe Biden, of President Biden. So maybe she couldn't speak out as strongly as she wanted to about Palestine. And let me tell you something. Grassroots black people, yeah, we are against injustice anywhere. But we're tired of singing kumbaya for people that don't give a damn about us. And not only don't give a damn about us, but are part of those that mean to do us harm, that are obvious racists against us. For instance, the Palestinians. They're known to have a high level of racism against black people. Here are people talking, oh, wow, that's it for Ukraine. I don't give a damn. remember what happened when Russia invaded the Ukraine. And the black people there, the Africans there, were pushed back, left in danger and hunger. I don't give a damn about the Ukraine. I can tell you that straight out. WHGE 95.3 FM. I ain't finished, y'all. Third eye optometrist, Patrice Gibbs. You notice there's more pressure on black people to stop talking about race than there is for racists to stop being racist. See, the system doesn't want to end racism. It just wants you to stop talking about it. That's a quote I think was purported to Chris Rock. Yeah. Tennessee, I got this from this sister I follow on TikTok. All right. Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Kentucky, Florida, Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Texas. These states still have Confederate holidays 158 years after they lost the war and lost the right to own people as property. They still have Confederate holidays. Hell, Mississippi and Alabama have 3 Confederate holidays. Each one is a paid holiday for state employees. Meanwhile, they combine Martin Luther King Day with Robert E. Lee Day. Now, ain't that about a bitch? There are over 2,000 Confederate memorials in this country. Over 700 statues and monuments. There are still like 7 state flags with ties to the Confederacy. And y'all had the nerve, the unmitigated gall, the caucasity to tell black people to let it go, to move on, to stop talking about it when it's all around us. There are reminders for us everywhere we look. Would you want us to stop talking about it? Y'all got us effed up. We will not. I told you about this last week. Following with the, I think it was last week I mentioned this. I paraphrased it last time, but I'll give it to you now. It's from a white dude. I was talking race with a friend of mine who happens to be white. No, it's from a brother that said this, right? I told him there's a black person, we often enter situations distrusted and have to do so much more than the next person to establish trust, simply because of the color of our skin. And he said his white friend said, do you know why a lot of non-blacks are hesitant around black people? Because if they were you, they would have burned this nation down by now. And they don't know if today is the day that you'll decide to do it. First time in, I was speechless in my adult life. Reminds me of the poem by Langston Hughes, Warning. Negroes, sweet and docile, meek and humble and kind, beware the day they change their mind. Wind in the cotton fields, gentle breeze, beware the hour it uproots the trees. Yeah. Let me tell y'all something. Stop calling global white supremacy the Illuminati. Stop making global white supremacy some spooky, all-powerful, insurmountable entity. It is not. Global white supremacy is a bunch of evil, psychotic white men who robbed and murdered their way to wealth and power. They are not insurmountable. They can and will and must be destroyed. The thing is, the situation is becoming urgent before they destroy the world. White supremacy is a collection of delusion, is a collective delusion that is supported by white academia and is reinforced by white perception of cosmology. Cosmology, the study of how the world and or universe came to be. White people have centered and omnipotentized themselves by consistently reinforcing the ideal through arts, literature, and theology that they are the ultimate purity and authority. BS. Psychologically, white people suffer from a God complex that has been made into white superiority. And when you remove somebody from a delusion of grandeur, when you remove somebody from their self-perception, they experience cognitive dissonance, and the brain perceives that as pain. This is the reason white tears exist, because they cannot fathom. They are not adored or ordained. Don't get it mixed. Like I said, it's no longer just about freedom. It's about survival. WHGE 95.3 FM, the Open Eye. Yeah. I'm Patrice Gibbs, your third eye optometrist. Thanks for joining me on Open Eye. Hope you learned something. I know I did before I got here. Okay. Keep your eyes open, watch your back, and be safe out there. And as we always tell you, destiny determines who enters your life, but you decide who stays. Therefore, value those who value you, and don't treat those as a priority who treat you as an option. I'm Patrice Gibbs. All right. Thank y'all for joining me. Doesn't change my stance. Global African supremacy. Because the world was a much better place when the African ruled. Peace.